Just to recap what we talked about. In 2.1a, when you multiplied like bases, we added the exponents together. So when we multiply the bases, we add the exponents together. In 2.1b, when we divided like bases, what did we do with the exponents then? When we divided the like bases, what did we do with our exponents then? We subtracted them. What we're going to talk about now is when we raise an exponent to another exponent. We're not going to add the exponents. We're not going to subtract the exponents. Anyone want to take a guess what we're going to do with the exponents now? Very close? Multiply. Right? We added the exponents, then we subtracted the exponents. Now we're going to multiply the exponents. Luckily, we're never going to have to divide the exponents. So what does it mean to raise an exponent to another exponent? Well, if I have something like 3 squared, right? That's 3 raised to the power of 2. If I take this whole thing and then raise it to the power of 3, this is what we're talking about. So it's like having an exponent on your exponent. Just like we see here. 3 to the power of 2 is being raised now to the power of 3, that exponent on the outside. Now when we were solving equations and we had a number on the outside of the parentheses, what did we do with that number? Does anyone remember what it's called? Starts with a D. Close. If it was outside the parentheses, you're getting closer. Let me show it to you what I'm talking about. If I had this number on the outside, what would we do with that number? Multiply. And what is it called? Distributing. Right? If a number's on the outside of the parentheses, we distributed it, like Princess said, which means that we're multiplying it, like Nick said. Okay? Same thing here. We've got a number on the outside of the parentheses. In a way, we're going to distribute it and multiply it by the exponent we've got inside the parentheses. So draw a little arrow from the 3 to the 2. Now we've got a base of 3 with an exponent of 2 times 3. What is 2 times 3? 6. Easy as that. We're just multiplying the 2 exponents together. So, just like we talked about yesterday, this is the shortcut way of doing it. Very simple. We just multiply the exponents together. But if we expand this out, we can see what we're actually doing here. If I've got 3 squared, if I think of that as one entity, and I'm raising it to the power of 3, then I'm doing 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared. It's 3 squared 3 times. Well, what is 3 to the power of 2? If I expanded that out, what does that look like? 3 times 3. And my second 3 squared is also 3 times 3. And my third 3 squared is also 3 times 3. So how many total 3's do we have altogether?
6.
6 of them. This is your new exponent. Base of 3, exponent of 6. Right? So instead of doing all this expanding out and breaking it down and multiplying, all we got to do is multiply the two exponents together. Very simple. Here come some examples to glue in. All right, so let's take a look at these examples. For this first one, I got a base of x raised to the power of 3, and that whole thing is raised to the power of 4. To use the power rule, all we're going to do is distribute that outside exponent to the inside and multiply. So we've got x to the power of 3 times 4, which gives me a new power of what? X to the power of, what's 3 times 4?
12.
12. That's it. Good. Example 18. Nick said you got -6. If we distribute that -3, we get 3 to the 2 times -3. Which is 3 to the -6. Do we leave our answer like that, though?
No.
No. What can we do instead?
Put 1 on the bottom.
Put a 1 on the bottom,
And then
flip it,
Make it positive.
make it positive. There's our answer. 1 over 3 to the 6th. Yeah.
Look at this one.
Yeah. Example number 19. I got a base of 7 raised to the power of 5. That whole thing raised to the power of 2. I distribute that 2 and multiply, giving me a new power of what? 7 to the 7 to the 10th power. Number 20, I distribute the 1. A to the power of negative 3 times 1 gives me a to the negative 3. Put it over 1, flip it around, 1 over a to the third power. Now 21 is interesting. What's my outside exponent on number 21? 1/2. So when I distribute that 1/2 to my inner exponent, now I've got 10 times 1/2. What's 10 times 1/2? 5. 10 to the power of 5. And last but not least, I distribute my negative 2 to the negative 3. What's negative 2 times negative 3? Just 6? Exactly right. Positive 6. Negative times negative gives me a positive. Hopefully this doesn't seem too bad. I know that you all know how to multiply, so it shouldn't be completely outlandish for us to get this done. So let's take a look at worksheet 16. Remember, do not leave negative exponents in your answer. Clear them out. Put it over 1. Flip it around. Make it positive.
What is
Yeah. Oh, you didn't get one? Okay.